Compression is an often misunderstood topic when it comes to mixing. In fact, a lot of us are using compression, but I find where a lot of people go wrong is they don't use compression with intention. They don't know why they're using it. They just see other engineers using it and decide, hey, I should do the same thing. And this is really not an effective way to use compression in your mixes. We're supposed to be using it for a very specific purpose. And in today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down 3 ways that I like to use compression in every single mix so that you understand the intention behind it and so that you can incorporate it into your own songs and sound better today. Are you ready? Let's go. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy 5-Piece producer and engineer extraordinaire. Thank you for checking out today's video. I'm really excited to talk about these 3 ways that I use compression in every single mix that I do. But I wanted to preface this lesson by saying I'm not going to go super in-depth showing you each of these techniques and how to actually execute them. Instead, throughout the video, I'm going to make sure that I leave a card up above that'll take you to a more in-depth tutorial that'll help show you how to actually implement this into your mixes step by step. Now, with that in mind, let's start with the first way that I use compression in every single mix. Serial compression. Serial compression is a much more gentler and transparent way to apply compression to a track. And the logic is this: instead of taking one compressor and dialing it up, cranking it so that we're losing a lot of volume, and then at the same time adding a lot of volume back, we're going to divide that across multiple steps or stages of compression. And what this does is it's just a lot gentler. It's going to lead to a more transparent sound. It's not going to be so noticeable that it's being compressed, and it'll ultimately just sound better. It'll sound more musical because a lot of times if we're over compressing something, it starts to sound squashed, flat, and lifeless, and these are things that we want to avoid. So on this particular track, this is a vocal track I have here. I have a few compressors that are working in series. I have an Alicia compressor, I have a CLA 2A, and I even have a multi-band Pro MB in between, just treating some specific problematic frequency pockets. But really the series, the compressor series that's going on here is this Alicia compressor and the CLA 2A. So these two compressors are working in harmony with one another to both reduce the sound, or reduce the level of the sound, I should say, but then also increase the average volume of it, and overall get a much more cohesive and glued together sound. Again, if you want to check out a video that's going to break this down a lot more and show you how to implement this yourself, definitely click the link that I mentioned previously. Before I continue discussing the next way that I use compression in all my mixes, I wanted to ask if you could please smash that like button if you're getting value, if you're learning something from this video. And if you're new here, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time I drop a new video. I drop something new every single week, always focused on helping you sound better and helping you make more money with your music. So if you want help with these areas, definitely subscribe so I can continue to do that. But with that in mind, let's get back to this lesson and talk about the next way I use compression in my mixes. Now, the second way that I like to use compression in a mix is I like to use parallel compression. In this particular track, I have all my vocals going to this premix, and then it gets divided between these 2 tracks. So essentially all the individual tracks go here, and then this feeds these 2 separate auxiliary tracks or buses. And as you see here, one is a light compress and one is a super compress. Now, what does that mean? It means each of these tracks is being compressed differently, one being very gentle and subtle, and the other one being a lot more aggressive. And what happens here is you're going to ultimately achieve the best of both worlds. You're going to get a much more dynamic track that has some more movement, and that's the light compressed one, of course. But then we're going to have a compressed one, a hyper compressed one, I should say, and that one is going to really squash everything. It's going to tame the peaks or really reduce them drastically. It's going to increase the volume quite a bit. And it might sound flat if I were to play that super compressed one on its own. However, when I combine the 2 of them, we're able to achieve the best of both worlds. You're getting the dynamics and the movement, and then you're also getting the average volume increase and allowing these sounds to cut more on smaller listening devices. If you want to learn more about how to use parallel compression in your mix, especially around vocals, I'll leave a link up above right now for you to check out and learn this method. Now, the third way I like to use compression in a mix is I like to use sidechain compression. And sidechain compression is really good at allowing one sound to come out more clearer, more on top, more dominant, and essentially be prioritized over another sound that it's clashing with. So for example, right now I have this instrumental track and I have my vocal a cappella. On my instrumental, I have a multi-band compressor, a Pro MB from FabFilter, and I'm isolating between 600 Hertz and 10,000 Hertz. And this is really where the vocal lives, this range. It's pretty wide, but the vocal is really usually dominant in this area. And what I have here is I have the vocals actually triggering the sidechain so that every time the vocals happen, the beat comes down just a little bit, or at least this particular frequency pocket of the beat comes down just a little bit and makes room, it makes space for that vocal so the vocal could be more dominant, more clear, more audible, etc. Because again, these two can clash at different times. And this is a really great example of how I like to use sidechain compression. However, you can use it on a whole bunch of things. Basically anything that you want to be prioritized, between one sound over another, whether it's the lead vocal on top of ad-libs or things of that nature. If you want to learn more about sidechain compression, I'm going to leave a link up above to a video you can watch to learn more about how to implement this into your own mixes. So there you have it. These are 3 ways that I like to use compression in every mix. I literally do this pretty much every single time, and each of them has their own unique intention. As an example, I'm using the parallel compression to increase the thickness of a sound, right? I'll use the hyper compressed and the lightly compressed version and fuse them together so I can get a little bit more consistency, loudness, but also maintain the dynamics. In the case of serial compression, I'll use that so that I can get a more transparent sound while also still reaping the benefits of compression. And then sidechain compression, of course, I'll use that to prioritize one sound over another if they're getting in the way of one another, for example. I hope you got value out of this video. If you did, please smash that like button. And if you're new here, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time I drop a new video. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Feel free to leave me a comment and let me know if this helped or if you want to see anything in a future video. And I'll see you again soon. Peace.
5